Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar, who needs them? What's up, everybody? I am Bernard Boo. This is WrestleBoo, and these are my 10 takeaways from the May 28th, 2018 episode of WWE Raw. Now, I thought this was a pretty solid episode of Raw. Conspicuous by his absence was Roman Reigns. Brock Lesnar, as to be expected, was not there either. But without those two huge stars, the two biggest stars on that brand, it still turned out to be a pretty solid show in my eyes. There was some good in-ring action. There wasn't a lot of buzz built up for the upcoming Money in the Bank pay-per-view, and that's kind of the biggest weakness of this show. But other than that, I thought this was a really solid show with a few talents shining brighter than they would have perhaps if Brock and Roman were dominating the program. My number 10 takeaway is that in the main event of last night's show, the women's Gauntlet match, which included, I think, 7 female talents, the final 2 performers in the ring were Ruby Riott and Sasha Banks. And while these two were wrestling, I thought they had really good chemistry. I liked the way they worked with each other. But what really stuck out to me was that I wish their roles were flipped. I wish Ruby Riott was the babyface and Sasha Banks was the heel. I think those roles are just more suited for these two talents. Sasha Banks, I much prefer as a heel, and Ruby Riott, she was a heel in NXT, and I liked her way more then. I think actually this Riott Squad stable kind of holds all 3 of those talents back. Sarah Logan, Liv Morgan, and Ruby Riott. I think they'd be much better served if they were split up. At number 9, I've got the Sami Zayn and Bobby Lashley promo. Now, last week's promo was pretty disastrous as far as the internet reaction to it. I actually didn't hate it. I think Sami on the mic, he really can do no wrong right now. I love listening to Sami work up that crowd and really try to be as annoying as he can be. I will admit though that this week's promo was much better than the Bobby Sisters promo from last week. Bobby Lashley still struggling on the mic. I'm actually kind of surprised by that because on the microphone in Impact Wrestling these past couple years, he's been like pretty good. But maybe WWE just has to find that sweet spot of how to package him. But Sami Zayn and Bobby Lashley, I'm actually pretty excited for their match at Money in the Bank that was made last night by Kurt Angle. I don't know, maybe I'm the only person who's excited for that match, but I'm pretty stoked for it. My number 8 takeaway involves a match in which we saw Matt Hardy and Bray Wyatt, the Deleters of Worlds, the Raw Tag Team Champions, take on the Ascension in an exhibition non-title match. Now, what I was thinking throughout this match, which was okay, wasn't really the showcase for the Ascension that I would have liked it to be because I'm a fan of the Ascension. I'm not that big a fan of the Deleters of Worlds. This broken Matt Hardy or woken Matt Hardy gimmick feels not stale. It doesn't feel stale. It's very entertaining, but it's an extension of the Impact Wrestling character, right? Broken Matt Hardy. And compared to that, like compared to the run on Impact Wrestling, this feels very tame. Like this Deleters of Worlds tag team with Bray Wyatt, this does not feel exciting. It does not feel edgy. It does not feel like they're gonna bring us any surprises with these characters in the foreseeable future. I'm actually not that into it, although it feels like the crowd is, so that's cool with me. But it feels like, I have a video coming up about this, but it feels like these two characters don't belong on WWE programming, and I don't mean that in the worst way. I mean that kind of in a good way, but I'll save that for this upcoming video that I hope you guys watch. At number 7, I've got Drew McIntyre, who took on Chad Gable, a talent who, as far as I'm concerned, is dead in the water. I mean, he's full of potential as far as in-ring work, but he just hasn't been working since he's come up to the main roster. You can say that about a lot of NXT talents who have graduated. But anyways, this is about Drew McIntyre. He looked so good in that ring. He's got maybe one of the best looks, best packages in the company. He just looks so mean and cool, and he's got kind of a Randy Orton, coolest guy in the room, like really cut guy vibe about him. That was a terrible description. But I just think Drew McIntyre has got that X factor, that it factor, and he proves it every time he comes out. You can tell he's hungry, and he really wants to be the best in that company. He wants that championship. I think his ambitions are sky high, and I think he can meet those ambitions. He's got all the tools now. I'm so excited for his future on Raw. My number 6 takeaway was a segment involving Nia Jax and Ronda Rousey, where Nia Jax was in the ring just destroying this local talent and showing Ronda Rousey how she's going to squash her at Money in the Bank. Ronda Rousey was up on in the commentary booth along with Corey Graves, Michael Cole, and Coach, and she was actually not as bad on commentary as I thought she was going to be. I was expecting a disaster. She's just not a great talker at this point. But what I liked about this segment, where eventually Ronda Rousey came into the ring to confront Nia, and Nia just got in her face and showed she wasn't scared of Ronda. What I liked about this segment was that we don't see segments like this every week on Raw. It felt a little different. It wasn't the most captivating thing in the world, but at least, sometimes with 3-hour shows, you just need something to break up the monotony. And Nia Jax talking to Ronda as she's destroying someone in the ring was kind of cool to me. I like heel Nia Jax, although I fear they might be flipping too often with her heel babyface with Nia. I think they've really got to stick with one good guy or bad guy side, because wasn't she like an anti-bullying ambassador just like a week ago or something? It's confusing because it sure seemed like she was bullying that local talent in the ring. I won't say the J word. I don't like that word. But the local talent, it seems like she was bullying her. So I don't know. Other than that, though, I liked this segment. It broke up the show, and Ronda looked vulnerable here, which I think is good for the build-up to this match with Nia. At number 5, I've got Elias and his promo in front of that Richmond crowd. Now, I love Elias's work every week, especially his promos. He's really good in the ring, too. He's improving all the time, but his promos, man, it's so clear that this guy has got the crowd in the palm of his hands. He can say anything. He knows exactly what to say to make that crowd react the way he wants to. And even if they react in a way he wasn't expecting, he picks up the ball. He's good at improvising, right? He's good at adapting and coming up with the right words to say. He's much smoother than I am. Obviously, I did not script this thing out. But Elias, I'm such a big fan. And I think the key to why he's so good at controlling that crowd is that he plays it straight. I've said this before, but he plays it straight face. He doesn't smile or smirk or laugh at his own jokes. He takes himself very seriously, almost, and I think the crowd kind of buys into it. He never breaks character. The consistency of his performance is what I'm so impressed with. Elias is one of my favorite guys in the whole company right now. I'm super hyped on him, and I kind of think about his work a lot as I think about wrestling. At number 4, I've got Elias smashing Seth Rollins in the back with his guitar, thereby sending Seth Rollins flying from the Raw stage to the floor. That looked so cool. And the reason why this is one of my top takeaways from the night is that a potential feud between Elias and Seth Rollins really entices me. I think these two are both maybe the two. No, they're not the two hottest talents on Raw, but they're two of. Seth is the hottest, and Elias is maybe 3 or 4 or something behind Braun and maybe Finn. But Elias and Seth, I think they would have really good matches. I'd love to see actually a multi-pay-per-view program between these two. I think that would be really beneficial for Elias to learn from Seth, and I think Seth could do with a really personal feud here as well, a one-on-one personal feud where they're really taking cheap shots at each other and screaming at each other. I think Seth needs that, so hopefully this is leading there. I really dug this. And the other thing I liked about this stunt between Elias and Seth was after they came back from commercial break, I think he was on a gurney and he had a neck brace on, and Seth was really, the camera was right in there. You could hear everything Seth was saying. Seth was saying, give me a minute. It was a really good acting job, acting as if he was really injured there. And I think it was a great way to sell Elias hitting him with that guitar. I think that's the first step to making this rivalry very personal. So, man, I hope this rivalry comes to fruition and we get some great matches and we get some great promos that make both of these talents better. At number 3, I've got the B Team, formerly the Miz Taraj, Curtis Axel, and Bo Dallas. I think these two are actually really good talents in the ring, but they're obviously not. Their gimmick isn't conducive to them showcasing their talent. They're kind of a comedy act, but I like the comedy. I think they're really funny. The promo with Kurt Angle backstage, where they really, weren't hearing what Kurt Angle had to say. They were trying to convince Kurt to give them Raw Tag Team title shots. Kurt was saying no way, and they just kept kind of saying what they wanted between each other while Kurt was saying, hey guys, I'm right here. I'm telling you, you're not getting title shots. And they went out and threw this barbecue, this Memorial Day barbecue, and we had this typical WWE holiday humorous segment, food fight in the middle of the ring. While I do like the B Team's promos and I like their character now, it's really funny. I think this barbecue highlighted that the Raw Tag Team division, while I had high hopes that this would be kind of exciting because there aren't too many marquee tag teams or well-established tag teams on Raw, I think this food fight thing kind of established how kind of, horribly this Raw Tag Team division is looking at the moment. Like I said earlier, the Deleters of Worlds are, I don't know, they're just kind of okay for me. They're kind of stagnant. The whole Raw division feels stagnant. You looked at all these teams in the ring like Breezango and the Ascension and the Revival, all these teams who are very talented, but Heath Slater and Rhino as well. They're very talented, but they're not being paid the attention that they need to make this a burgeoning, Raw Tag Team division. We need to see some serious good matches between these guys, and it's just not happening. At number 2, I've got the rematch from last week between Braun Strowman and Finn Balor. Now, both matches, last week's match and this week's match, were really, really impressive. It's the classic wrestling David versus Goliath story, which is one of the oldest, cliches in the wrestling business, but these two made it feel fresh. They made it feel more competitive than you would expect, although the way Finn Balor sold those punches and knees from Braun Strowman was, I say it all the time, but Finn Balor's selling is the best in the business. I love the way Finn sells. But Braun Strowman and Finn, I think their unique talents that they displayed last night and last week is that they have that ability to have a great match with anybody, no matter their body type, no matter their in-ring style. I think I've seen Braun Strowman and Finn Balor have barn burners with every kind style of wrestler. I think these guys both have that unique quality, and together it was just magic. I love that while Finn did look like an underdog throughout the match, when Finn did get his offense in, it looked believable that he was hurting Braun. And the way that they structured the match to where Finn could legitimately hurt Braun was really smart. When Braun was carrying Finn back from the out, knocking him into the crowd with a shoulder tackle and then carrying him back into the ring, Finn pushes him into the corner post. I mean, that looked really good. That's, obviously that's all on Braun. Braun took a really good bump there, but also how Finn was laying in those coup de grace on the back of Braun's head and onto his chest, going for it again before the match got interrupted by, I think, Kevin Owens. Am I tripping? Kevin Owens? Yeah, it was Kevin Owens, because Kevin Owens was on commentary and he was trolling Finn and Braun throughout the match, which added another layer to this match. It was so good. This was such an entertaining segment. It was my number 2 only because my number 1 takeaway from Raw was that Jinder Mahal and Seth Rollins, much like Elias and Seth Rollins, is a match made in heaven, man. Jinder is such a good heel. He's my favorite heel on Raw. He doesn't even have to talk. He's one of those talents that this is what I think makes a great talent, where their character, their on-mic character, is also expressed via their in-ring work, right? Like Jinder, you can tell what kind of guy he is just from watching him in the ring. You don't have to hear a promo. You hate Jinder just by looking at him. Look at the guy. He just looks so hateable. And he and Seth, I think Seth always has good matches these days on Raw, but he and Jinder just tore it down. I think exceeded my expectations. There was that spot near the end of the match where I don't know. I'm not a wrestler. I don't know these things. But where Sunil Singh distracted Seth, and then behind the referee's back, Jinder Mahal hits Seth in the stomach with a chair that he pulled out from underneath the ring. While I didn't genuinely think the match was going to be over there and then Jinder Mahal was going to become IC champ, obviously I didn't really think that. It felt good. It felt like there was a little sense of suspense for a split second there, and the crowd was into it. The crowd popped. They thought maybe Seth was going to get beaten there, and I love this. I love this whole match. Seth Rollins, Red Hot Rollins, again, I'll say it again, I was so wrong about WWE's decision to put the Intercontinental title on Seth. It feels so good that we can count on the IC champion having good matches every week on Raw. That's great for Raw as a program because it's a guarantee. They guarantee that no matter what happens on Raw every week, at least you'll get to see Seth Rollins display his world-class talents and show that WWE has maybe the best wrestler in the world under their belt on Raw. God damn it, my screen went out and I've been loving this take, so I'm just going to keep that in the edit. Seth Rollins, red hot. Jinder Mahal, red hot heel. These two, I think that match was deserving of an even bigger platform. Thank you guys so much for watching my 10 takeaways from the May 28th, 2018 episode of Monday Night Raw. Let me know what you guys thought in the comments below. If you like this video and want to see more content like this, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, share this video with a friend. I am Bernard Boo. This is WrestleBoo, and I'll see you next time.